So this video is going to be a little bit different. This is not going to be a tutorial or anything like that. This is going to be a story basically about my miscarriage and how that led me to crocheting. I think it's important to talk about these things. I typically do not talk about these things, like especially something that's happened to me. Like when it happened, I didn't really talk about it at all, and that even like upset some people. But I'm just not one to talk about my feelings, and when something like that happens to you, like however you react is the right reaction. Don't let other people like put things on you. Because I struggled with that too. Like, well then why am I not reacting correctly? But I'll explain to you a little bit about that. So I guess this might be a long video. I'll try not to make it too long, but I get rambling. So this happened the summer of 2014. My son's 3.5 now, and he was just over a year then. And it took me a long time to get pregnant with him. It took me about 3.5 years, or my husband and I. So yeah, he must have been like 1 year and 1 month old, and we found out we were pregnant, which was exciting because it didn't take us forever. And so we went that day. Like I must have been really early. I forget exactly. I think I was only probably like 5 weeks. Like we had not gone to the doctor or anything like that yet. We just decided to go up to my parents' house, and everyone was going to be there, so we told them. And yeah, like we gave my son a I'm a big brother shirt and stuff like that. So it was a good weekend. It was really exciting to be able to tell them. And then as we were leaving, oh, I should have said, this obviously is about a miscarriage. Like, if that triggers you, then feel free to skip this one. I won't blame you. We were leaving, and my parents have like a cement porch, and then there's a cement step onto then down onto their driveway. So we were leaving, and my husband was like in the doorway. He was like turned into the house, like talking to my sister, I think. And I had Lincoln in this arm, and then I think I had like a bag in this arm, like probably his diaper bag. Some of my details are like fuzzy, but so Jared was like talking into the house, so I kind of like pushed past him. And what happened was, like, they have the step, then there was like a gap, and then there was a post. But my brain, I don't know, I lined up the door and the post, and I just walked straight out. And when I did, and I had Lincoln on this side, and he was just in a like shorts, I think, yeah, or diaper, something like that. What I did was I stepped with my left foot off my porch, or off my parents' porch, and I stepped into the gap between the post and the actual step. So like my foot went straight down. It's probably like 1.5 feet maybe, I don't know. My left foot rolled, and I heard a crack, so like I knew I broke my foot. And I don't remember a lot between hearing the crack and being on the ground. Like I've gone over it in my head a million times, and I do not know what happened. I don't know if I blacked out or what. So I hit the ground, and my eyes open, and I'm looking at my son, my tiny 1-year-old, is like 2 feet from me on the ground, and he's looking back at me. Like we're both on the ground. And I screamed. I do not remember screaming. I don't remember anything after I heard the crack. As soon as I hit the ground, I'm freaking out because I dropped my son. Like, obviously I killed him. Like, in my head, that's what was going on. And like, my mom's a nurse, my dad's a paramedic. They ran out, and they're checking him out, and I'm like bawling into my sister. I don't really remember where Jared was. He was probably with Lincoln. There was a lot going on. I don't remember everything. And then I realized, like, I'm a mess. Like, I skinned both of my palms. You may not be able to see it anymore. I skinned from, like, here to here. I used to have, like, an exclamation point. And then my leg, which I'm not going to show you, has a scar like this long. Because when I fell, because that cement step was right there, I hit that corner. And so my entire like shin dragged down the corner. Yeah, you don't want to see pictures. It was nasty. Like people, when I was in the hospital, or like, so I'll go over that in a minute. So then I'm freaking out about the baby because, and my mom's like reassuring me, she's like, the baby's so tiny, like she's totally protected in there, which is true. Like she wasn't lying to me, and it's things I knew. Like I didn't get hit in the stomach, like nothing like that. So I'm like, all right. But I'm bawling the whole time because I'm pretty sure I was like in shock. I'm not like an overly emotional person normally, and I was like a hot mess. And they're checking out my son, and I'm freaking out, and I think my foot is broken. I heard it pop. And I was wearing flip-flops, which is my downfall. If I was wearing tennis shoes, I probably would not have broken my foot, but whatever. My battery's low. Anyway, so we decided to go to the hospital, and I'm crying the whole way because I just cannot turn it off. And we end up going into Helen DeVos Children's because we had never gone to the ER in Grand Rapids, and we didn't really know where we were going, so we pulled up to ask them where to go for the adult ER, and they were like, just come on in. And so then I keep getting these questions like, what happened to you? And I was like, I fell off a porch, and they're looking at me, and I'm such a mess with scrapes everywhere that they're like, it looks more like you got hit by a car. I'm like, nope, I fell off a porch, and I'm an idiot. Because I blame myself. But because it was Helen DeVos Children's Center, they didn't have like all the normal stuff like an adult pregnant woman would need. So they just did an abdominal ultrasound, which I knew, like, as early as I knew they wouldn't be able to see anything. So I can't remember. They did not draw blood there, I don't think. I don't remember. So my mom ended up getting me into CNOB, and they drew my blood to check for HCG levels. And so then we go home, and I end up staying at my parents' house. And so obviously, like, I felt it's not their fault, but I'm like living on their couch, so I felt a little bit like a fish in a fishbowl. I had people surrounding me all the time, which was great, but at the same time I just like felt I was constantly trying not to cry, and just trying to like be blank, I guess. I don't know. So my husband wasn't with me most of the time. He was working, and my sister stayed to help with Lincoln, and they brought me snacks and stuff, which was great. But I'm like literally laying on the couch. I can't hardly move. My foot's broken. I can't use my hands to like push myself up because they were so scraped up. I'm just a mess. And I'm waiting for like 3 days to find out if I was going to miscarry or not, which sucked. So I don't remember what exactly happened, but the results like were supposed to come at a certain point, and then I didn't get them until like the next weekend or something like that. And we ended up going into the OB and getting another ultrasound. Oh wait, no, sorry. On the third day, 2 or 3 days after I started bleeding. So I'm like completely freaking out because now I think I've killed this baby, because obviously it was my fault for just rushing out of the house and stepping in the wrong place, which is not true, but that's, you know, how our minds work. So I started bleeding, and my mom got me an appointment right away for an OB, and had an ultrasound, and I miscarried. Which is hard not to think it's your fault, but it is not your fault. Or my fault, I guess, in this scenario. It's my fault. Or not my fault, sorry. Yeah, so then I just kind of shut down a little bit because, like, obviously I'm on my parents' couch. I don't have, like, a place to go hide, and I couldn't because I couldn't hardly move. Like, my body was, like, so bruised, and I felt so weak, and, yeah, it was just a lot of pain, because even just the scrapes, like, I bruised myself, and I still, oh, I guess I didn't talk about this, I was freaking out about Lincoln because I thought I killed him, and I still have no idea. Like, he only had a tiny, tiny little scrape on his back from the watch that I was wearing. Like, when I fell, I must have, like, jerked up my wrist. My mom thinks that I, like, fell, and then he let him fall on me, and then he rolled off. I have absolutely no idea. I've tried to play it in my head, and I have no idea. But he was fine. Like, the doctor checked him out, and he's like running around. He only really cried when I was crying. Like, he was fine. So now I've lost my place. I don't know. Okay, so I'm like living on my parents' couch, broken, can't hardly move, don't really want to move, honestly. And my sister, Sarah, she's working on this giant blanket at the time, which I had never like seen her crochet. And like, I know my mom used to crochet, and there was a couple times growing up I even, it's getting really bright in here, even thought about learning crocheting, but I was not patient enough, and I just like, actually right before I had Lincoln, I tried, and you should see the blanket. I have it somewhere. It's like this big because I gave up, and it like is waves. It's hilarious. I had no idea what I was doing. But yeah, so she's working on this blanket, and I'm like actually getting a lot of amusement out of it because she's getting pissed at it constantly, and she's constantly yelling at the thing. And I was like, you should teach me how to do that, obviously, you know, because I'm watching her go crazy. Oh, I forgot the blanket. 1 second. Maybe Jared could help me edit that out. I don't know how to edit. So yeah, I'm watching her like get pissed off at this blanket, which is actually cracking me up. So I told her she needed to teach me. And so she did. She started me off, and so I decided to make a rainbow blanket, because a rainbow baby is a baby you have after a loss or a miscarriage. So, and at that point I was determined we were going to have a baby soon, which we did. We got pregnant like 3 months later with Lily. So I made this blanket. You can see it. It's, ooh. She actually uses it quite a bit, but it is like a mess. Like, there's holes, and so I didn't know what I was doing that well yet either. Yeah, so, ooh, it's really bright. I'm gonna have to end this. Yeah, so this hasn't even been that much about crocheting, but she taught me, and it helped me focus on something other than my pain and something other than the fact that I lost the baby. And it gave me a way to focus on the future and the baby that we will have, or we did have now, Lillian. And so, yeah, that's just how I got into crocheting, and probably why I'm so obsessed with it. It calms me down. It, like, I have a Fitbit, and I can actually see it lower my heart rate as I sit there and crochet. So, yeah, that is, it's too bright. I've got to stop. That is the story of how I started crocheting, even though I didn't even really talk about crocheting very much. But anyway, so if you've gone through a miscarriage, I'm really sorry, because they really suck, and there's no right way to react to it. And I think we need to talk about it more, because it's kind of almost taboo. Like, people don't want to talk about it, which, I mean, is okay. Like, I didn't want to talk about mine either for a long time, just because then I'd start crying, and I don't like to cry. I mean, who does? But anyway, just in negative times like that, it's good to find the positive. And for me, the positive was crocheting and being able to look forward. So there is my super long video. Hope you enjoyed it, or can relate to it. Maybe not enjoyed is the right word, but yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.